Welcome to the video, everyone. Today I'm gonna go over this Monster Moto 80 that I have. I purchased it last year. It was in a non-running condition. It needed some work. It already had turbo installed on it. So last year I was working on it, trying to get it to work with the stock little butterfly carburetor that was on it, and it never really wanted to run. I mean, as a draw through, as soon as the turbo would start to spin, I'm just assuming that it just started pulling fuel way too fast out of this bowl, being this type of setup. I gave up on the mini bike for quite a few months. I think it had been about 8 months since I messed with it, and I finally decided to take the stock carburetor off. So what we got here is the Walmart Monster Moto 80. It has a Predator 212 installed from Harbor Freight. It has no internal work done to it other than the governor being disabled. Valve springs are stock, cams stock, flywheel stock, rod pistons are stock. As you can see, we got the exhaust comes up, wraps around, gets fed into this Garrett GT1241. From there, it's got this homemade charge pipe. It's got a Greddy Type R knockoff installed. You can never hear it under D-cell. It's got a knockoff Mikuni 22mm slide carb that replaces stock butterfly carb. Okay, overall on the bike, it's got a Milwaukee M18 for a battery. I do this because they're, Milwaukee tools. I got quite a few of them. The battery charges relatively fast and produces power for quite a bit for what this bike needs. So the M18 powers goes to a switch up here, 2 switches. So the green one turns on the oil pump that's down here mounted to the frame. It's got an oil pressure gauge. If you watch it right here, it's sitting at 0. We turn that on, pump starts to click, gauge comes up, it's making power. So that's fed from the bottom of the block to the pump, goes up, hits 2 90-degree elbows. One has the oil pressure gauge before it goes into the turbo. Then it drains all the turbo, and then into the back of the block it's got a hole drilled and fed in. Then we watch, oil pressure drops down. The other purpose of the battery is for a headlight. At some point I want to wire this thing up for functioning headlight, taillight, and blinkers. Maybe make this thing a little bit more street legal. Custom cylindrical fuel tank. Mopar boost gauge. Reads about 1 pound now because I dropped it, but this thing will make about 4 to 6 pounds erratically from a single cylinder engine. Come around, it's got this short exhaust here. It kind of points forward on the bike. What I'd like to do is either pie cut this and wedge it back, or just chop it back and put a down pipe or a rear curved pipe. Still running the stock clutch. Trying to find any measurements I can for a constant velocity transmission to install on here. See if I still got enough room with the 212 on the MMB 80 frame. Otherwise, I'm just gonna try and sprocket down in the rear and then sprocket up on the clutch side, and see if I can change the gearing that way. Right now the bike tops out at about 32 miles an hour. Another future plan is to maybe try and rotate the turbo and move it from underneath the seat to maybe center it in the bike, right in this cavity right here, so I can have a center exit exhaust. I think that would look pretty sweet, and then maybe, because then I could have the exhaust come straight out the rear, and then the carburetor would face straight forward. But overall, this thing works pretty well since I put the slide carb on. It rides a lot better. It actually idles. I can just jump on it, choke it, fire it, and ride it. I used it quite a bit out at Ice Cream Cruise 2021 at you know, down in Pacific Junction, Iowa. This thing running the turbo and the draw through carb would actually get cold enough that the charge pipe and the pre-turbo would condensate because it was so cold, which is actually pretty cool. I got a lot of compliments about this thing at Ice Cream Cruise. Granted, I can't take all the work. I bought it as a non-runner, and I've just kind of changed things and made a functioning turbo 212 mini bike. Any questions? Put them in the comments. I don't produce a lot of content, but when I do, I try to make it something worthwhile. It's something different. A lot of things different, like this black car over here. In my previous videos, that thing used to run a twin turbo on a 4-cylinder. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see what I can get out. Maybe next time I can try and get a riding video. Thanks again, everybody.